Well, my name is Isak Danielson, and I'm a singer-songwriter from Sweden. I'm not from Stockholm. I'm in Stockholm right now. I live in Stockholm, but I'm from Gothenburg on the west coast of Sweden. And I sing and I write music. I know I can't. I don't know. I think the first time when I really dove into it was when I got my first panic attacks when I think I'd had panic attacks before, but I didn't know what it was. But when I was in school, and I remember feeling so weird, and I was like, what is going on with me? I called my mother. I was like, what's happening? She's like, buy a fruit or something. I was like, okay, maybe I'm just having low blood sugar. So I did that, and then I was like, I'm not feeling good. And then I went home, and then I didn't leave the house. And once I got a shrink, and we started talking. I had like 6 like full on panic attacks on the bus ride on the way home from school, which I didn't know at that point. But that's I think that was in 2015. So that was the first time that I really like dove into that because it was affecting me so badly.
Is it part of the education in Sweden so that you learn something about mental illnesses or something?
It isn't.
Okay.
It really isn't. And I've thought about it so much. And I've thought about that in like school, that why don't you have, at least 1 hour a week where you talk about just like life,
Yeah.
like being growing up and the mental health and all that stuff that just that you don't know. We don't learn about it. And I think it's so important. I don't know how to answer that. I don't know. I don't read that many books. I don't read any books. I don't watch that many films. But like music, I think I think just in general, what I see is people talking more and more about it. I think that a lot of celebrities and big artists, they talk about it so much and what they're going through, and they're also writing about it in their music. And especially, yeah, that's I think what I've seen or heard, because that's my interest, like the music. So I think it's good, but it can never be talked about enough, I think. And for me, you know it really was such an amazing feeling, uh, when you realize that people is going through the same thing, because I didn't see it. I was like, what is wrong with me? What is happening? And then when you got interested in the subject, and you were like, what is mental health, like what is happening in my brain, why am I feeling this way? And then you start reading and seeing people talking about it, um, and just explaining what you felt. It's amazing. So I think it's very important. I think it's just to talk about it, just talk about it with everybody. And I think I think it gets better and better. Like with my friends in my circle, it's not a big deal. And also a lot of, feel like guys have a harder time talking about it than girls. And I remembered the first time I spoke about it on like TV in Sweden. Some of my guy friends were like, whoa, have you really felt this? Because I felt this and this and this. And I was like, why haven't you talked with me? Why haven't we talked about it? So I think it's just to talk about it, to really talk about it, and not see it as also that big of a deal. It's a big deal, but it's also like it's life. It's what a lot of people go through. Most people go through. They have some sort of, challenge with their mental health. Um, so I think it's talking about it, and then also the view on it as not being too dramatic. Even also the people that have it is also just not be too. It's not. It. I don't think it's a part of who you are, and it's beautiful in that way. But it doesn't define you. It's not like I used to, when I was really bad. I was like, I'm a person with panic disorder, and and a friend told me, he was like, well, you that doesn't define you. I mean, that's just what you're going through and your state of mind or whatever, but that's not you. It is you. Do you get what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I think that I have a hard time kind of like making sense, but I think you understand. So yeah, I think it's just that, to talk about it and to to really just view it as a thing that's like, well, life goes on, and really embracing those lows as well, and looking at it, you know, curiously, not being scared of it, and not um being like, oh my God, what's happening, and you know, mental health, and you know, more of like, yeah, that's life, and it sucks sometimes, and like, what can we all do to feel better? You know, friends who's been in them, and then I have friends who's working in them, you know. So I don't know, I think my view is what it looks like in Sweden. I mean, you know, people are there and they have troubles, and then they hang out and they try to feel better, and they get help, and you know, I don't really know. It's not like in the movies. That's not how I view it at all. But mine was very like straight on, what are you scared of? Do it.
Mhm.
So all the things that triggered my anxiety, you know, it could be like, mine was very much about being safe, and in like environments where I feel very like, you know, nothing can hurt me, and I couldn't be alone. I was so scared of being alone. I was so scared of losing control, and like, just, you know, you have all these thoughts about like falling down and dying, and nobody's there to help you or whatever. So I think that my process was really just, you know, doing all the things that scared me. You know, I went on like boats out to islands where I was isolated. I had to walk around on the weekends, and I had to walk around, and then I went back home, and you know, the things that triggered my panic attacks. And then just in life, you know, I've flown a lot, but I hate it. So I did that, and I was so scared of trains. I hated trains, and I hated just like buses, and I don't know. I think also just because I had my first, you know, proper panic attacks on a bus, that that really triggers it. So I really went on a lot of different buses to different places in, you know, the city that I grew up in, and yeah, I think it was just facing my fears. It was really about that for me. No, 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 no. She helped me so much. I mean, she was really, and I think I was so lucky because she was the best therapist for me. I haven't seen her in a long time. And she eventually threw me out. She was like, now I'm a safety. You have to leave. And I was like, no, please. I want to stay. But no, she helped me so much. And she was really tough with me. She was like, you know, I came to the sessions, and if I told her what I had done, and it felt like I couldn't lie to her. I couldn't lie to her. So I was like, and then I did this and this and this. And she was like, well, you didn't do it right. You have to do it again. And I was like, okay, I will. So I did it again. And then, you know, I just got all these, it was like homework, you know, and I had to do it. And I felt like she really, in the best way, forced me to do these things, and to, you know, and she was just looking at me. She's like, do you want to feel better? And I was like, yeah. And then she's like, well, then listen to me and do what I have to say. And I think that's also really important. You have to also find the strength, um, to also want to get better, and really doing it. Like, nobody can do it for you. You really have to work on it, and it's so difficult, and it's so much easier said than done, you know. But once you've done it, it's like, oof, it's so freeing. Such an amazing feeling. Because it's also it's difficult, because some people are very, you know, sensitive to also like, because I don't want to disrespect, because I know also that it's horrible, and you know, but for me, and I think it would be also easier for a lot of people to just be like, yeah, yeah, you know, not be too stressed about it, and not be like, you know. So I think that's what's really helped me in being like, well, just shut up, you know, what's to the people screaming in your head, or whatever you view it, and just be like, you know, move on. Like, it's not the truth. This is just,
Yeah.
you know, um ghosts that are just trying to control you, and just don't let them.